Hey everyone, today what I have here is what we call a real life location pilgrimage, and it's basically like locations that you can see in like an MV or anime that turns out to be like a location that also exists somewhere in real life. I wanted to do some Hololive related real life location pilgrimages, and for today I chose one of Flare's newer MV, which the song is called Daikangensai Yume no Flare Channel. I'll talk more about the behind the scenes stuff after we explore the locations in the video, and if you're interested, please stay tuned for that. Without further ado, let's go! So as you can see here, today we'll be in the Nakano area, as the locations in the MVs are pretty much all in this Nakano area. Nakano is only about less than 5-minute train ride from Shinjuku, and it's also like about like 2 stations if you take the normal train, or about like 1 station if you take like the faster rapid train. And Shinjuku is just one of the major stations in Tokyo. So one of the first locations in the MV we see is actually the aerial shot of the city. I don't think it's possible to get a shot of this without like a drone. And even if we have a drone, I'm not sure like what the rules are with flying drones in the city. So I'll use help from Google Earth, as you can see here. So basically the building that you see in the MV is like this little sandwich-like building, and this is what we call the Nakano Sunplaza. And yeah, it's one of the iconic locations in Nakano. But yeah, let me just play around and look for the shot that fits the one that they took in the MV. Up next, we got the Nakano Sunplaza, which is the sandwich-shaped building that I just talked about. So here I have a compiled rough map of all the locations used in the MV, so feel free to use it if you plan to visit any of these locations. The link of the map will be down in the description below. Unfortunately, this iconic building is set to be demolished and rebuilt in the latter half of 2024. When I started doing research for this real-life location pilgrimage, I knew I had to get the shots of this location quickly since it could go down any day. And this area already has been fenced off in preparation of the demolition, and so I was unable to get the best shots that can fit the ones in the MV. Personally, I've already been to many concerts and events in this location, especially in my very early days of concert going, and yeah, so this is a very nostalgic location for me. Up next, let's cover all the outside areas before heading indoors. And we got quite a few here, and they're not far apart. So walking past Nakano Sunplaza, you could head towards a park here, and there is a location just inside the park. So that's the only location in the park, and afterwards we can head back towards the main station. and we could start walking down towards the iconic shopping street of Nakano. And this street is pretty long and has a lot of shops. And right here in the middle, there's a location that's in the MV, and it's a old clothing shop. This is the only location on this shopping street, aside from the one at the very end. And when you get here, you will see at the very end of the street there's the iconic sign that reads Nakano Broadway. Nakano Broadway is an area which they sell many idol and anime culture related goods, and especially those on the more niche and collector end of the things. You could dig up some pretty nice treasures here, especially one of the older things that maybe existed on the market for maybe like 30-40 years. They have a lot of older stuff here. And I'll just say that for newer shows and for their goods, I would recommend checking out Akihabara instead. But this is like a more niche place, and you could just spend a day walking around here. There's like a lot of shops here. Before going into Nakano Broadway, there's at least one last location which is just to the left here. So if you turn left right as you hit the sign, you'll find another location here. The final locations for the MV are all inside the Nakano Broadway building. And for clarity, I'll put the floor number of these locations on the bottom right corner, and we'll be staying on the same floor until I put down a new floor number. And that's a wrap for all the real life locations that were used in the MV. Again, I'll link the Google Maps down in the description below for those who want to visit these locations. For now, I just want to talk a little bit more about the behind the scenes stuff. I'll just play some footage of the shops in Nakano Broadway while I talk. So this is a new series that I wanted to do, and it will be the exploration of real life locations that appear in Hololive Talents, MV, or contents. I'm not too sure how often they'll come out, as they take time in terms of research and actual travel on top of all the usual like editing and scripting and all that. It's also a little bit more difficult because they're virtual people, so the usage of real life locations don't often come up compared to like idol groups or like anime. So it may come as a surprise, but I actually used to do a lot of these for anime and voice actor real life locations as a hobby, and I'm extremely excited to get back into doing these. I have a couple of other Hololive related real life locations that I want to explore, but I chose Flares today because I really enjoyed this song, and the location itself I would say is very easy and accessible one to do, both in terms of the research and travel. I really like her voice, especially when she sings, and yeah, there's like a certain charm to her voice that I don't really know how to describe. A lot of the songs that I like of hers really gives you like a good energy and it just makes you happy. Definitely check out her MV for this song, and the links will be down in the description below. So you may wonder, how did I find all these locations? And I'll say like a lot of times I rely on others' guidance and their help in terms of like their blogs and Twitter posts and yeah, things like that, talking about the locations. For this MV specifically, it came out only like a little bit over 2 months ago, I think, and I did not find any information on it based on my research on the internet, but honestly this is a really simple one to do. The locations, if you've been there, are really iconic, so for example it's kind of like you see like Tokyo Tower or something on a smaller scale. But for things like the parks and the shopping streets, they're a little bit more difficult. It's pretty much like playing like a no-move GeoGuessr map. If you have like the rough location, it's just about like using all the clues you have in the frame and the shot to try to narrow down where it could be. One last request from me is that please do be respectful if you want to visit these locations. Please do not cause extra trouble, such as like filming in locations that you aren't allowed or disturbing the peace in the area. For the Mandarake shops in the Nakano Broadway, they told me filming is allowed, but just don't take pictures of their customers. And finally, thank you for watching. If you ever happen to visit Japan and have some extra time, I think visiting these real life locations is always really interesting. Sometimes they take you to places that you would never go to, and it's a great way to get a chance to explore them. By the way, if you have any suggestions on locations for any of the Talents MV, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. I haven't watched every single one of the MVs that were released, so I definitely missed some of them. If you enjoyed and learned something from this video and want to see more, I post videos such as this one relating to Hololive and other VTubers on this channel. I'd really appreciate your support if you could press the subscribe button. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.